Well, very proud of who I am, very proud of the fact that I'm an African American, and certainly proud of the history. And it's on that history which represents the foundation upon which I'm standing. So, a lot of things have happened over an extended period of time. Sacrifices that have been made, contributions, people who have stepped up, a number of causes that we've had to fight through. And it doesn't mean that things are over, or as we say, we have crossed over into the promised land. But it does mean that I am a part of a very proud history. And a lot of people have contributed to make it possible for all of us to be where we are today. Well, I mean, there are a zillion things that I've learned. It's hard to just kind of reduce them down to a few. I will tell you that, look, life is not fair. That's one. Life is not fair, but you still have to learn how to navigate through it. Okay, that's number one. And then Frederick Douglass said, power concedes nothing without a demand. It never has and it never will. It was Carter G. Woodson, Father of Black History Month, who says that if you can control a man's thinking, you can control his actions. And if you can control what a man thinks, then you shall determine what he can do. I still remember that. Rosa Parks taught us that sometimes you have to sit down in order to stand up. Okay? And Jesse Jackson said that you can't get to freedom riding Pharaoh's chariot. At some point in time, you got to get off the chariot and walk the rest of the way by yourself. So there are many, many messages that I have learned. And then from the gospel perspective, sometimes you run into the Red Sea. And then you've got people who are behind you. You've got mountains on the side of you. So what do? And the message is that you continue to go through, okay? Turning around doesn't get you where you need to go. Standing still won't make things happen. And so even in the spite of mountains, challenges, and red rivers in front, we still persevere and go forward. And then it was my dad who died from cancer, no public health insurance. The leukemia was eating him up. And he taught me that sometimes when you get knocked down, you have to learn how to pull yourself right back up. And life will knock you down, but you learn how to get back up. And then it was my mom, the maid who didn't graduate from high school, who taught me that irrespective of where you are today, tomorrow will be better than today. Just stay focused, stay the course, and don't give up. So I can go on and on and on and on, As an African American, we didn't start off as slaves. We were kings and queens even before we got to this country. And we came to this country, involuntarily, I may add, involuntarily brought to this country, picked this nation's cotton, built this nation's buildings, and raised this nation's children. But in spite of all of that, we have persevered. And then lastly, what I have said, and what's something that my mom and dad taught, is that in African Americans, it's not just good enough to be good. We always have to strive to be better than good. Okay? So those are just a few. Because if you don't know who you are, you'll miss your step in terms of where you're going. It's important for people to know who they are. It's important for people to know their history. And if you know your history, then you can be proud of who you are. We didn't just get here yesterday. I didn't just become mayor of the city of Houston just because, okay? And the race didn't start just in 2015 in the campaign. The race started decades, centuries before. A lot of people paved the way to make it possible for me to be sitting where I stand today. Okay, there were times when we could not vote, and if you can't vote, you have no voice. Okay? But there were a lot of people who fought, bled, and died to make it possible for people to have the right to vote, and that's why in any given election, I make it my point to go and vote, because one person's vote can make a difference, and your vote is your voice. And irrespective of the resources that you have or you don't have, there is one thing that is equal, and that is your vote. You can be the most affluent, the most powerful, but you only get one vote. You can be the poorest of the poor. You have one vote. And the only thing that makes you unequal is when you refuse or choose not to exercise your vote and the other person does. So knowing who you are, knowing the history, knowing the sacrifices that were made, and recognizing the contributions that people have made makes you feel good. When I get on the elevator, and there was an African American who invented that elevator, I'm proud of that fact, okay? Or when I eat ice cream and knowing who did that, or the peanut and knowing who did that. Those things, the stoplight, knowing African American, I'm proud of that, okay? So it's important to recognize your history, but people also should remember that the battle, the struggle, so to speak, not over. And then in knowing your history, you can deal with today's challenges. And even when things get rough and tough, you can still smile, stand strong, straighten your back, and hold on to your dreams and your aspirations.